everybody, and welcome to Binging with Badness, the only podcast where this is the right place, but the wrong people. My name is Mitchell McIntyre.
I'm Vanessa Vogel.
And I'm angry. This is X-Men: The Last Stand.
Yes.
Maybe not angry isn't the right word. Although it's in there.
I feel like anger is the right word. I don't know how it's not.
It's also a lot of disappointment.
That's a variant of anger.
Yeah, I suppose it is. So for those of you who don't know, this is the first time we have ever sat through, been inflicted upon, from X-Men 3: The Last Stand, which is, up until this point, notoriously the worst X-Men film ever made.
Is it?
Up until the time that this movie was released, I think it's actually been beaten.
By...
Well, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, this movie is notorious as the worst of the X-Men films, and also the most disappointing. And I would say that's correct.
Yeah.
It's well, we'll get to it. At the point that this movie was created, did you know that it was the most expensive movie ever made?
Really, this?
Really, this.
Yeah, I guess Avatar hadn't come out yet.
I don't know where that money went because it's not on the screen.
I think they had to invent the snap disintegration.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the money went.
We'll get to that.
Or it went to catering. I don't know.
Catering better be damn good. So, this is X-Men: The Last Stand, also known as X3: The Last Stand, or just X-Men 3, if you're lazy. This is a 2006 superhero film based on the X-Men comics. You know that. This was directed by Brett Ratner, who you might know as not being Bryan Singer. Bryan Singer, who directed the first two films, was busy doing a Superman.
A good Superman?
A Superman.
Oh, so we're just disappointed on all fronts.
Well, yeah. So Superman Returns is the movie he did. That was back in 2006.
Okay.
And, it's got its moments, but it is notoriously boring. It kind of picks up after Superman 2, the Christopher Reeve movie.
Okay.
And, Brandon Routh played Superman. He did very well.
Is this the one where Superman cried so hard he turned back time by flying backwards?
I think that's Superman 2.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But I think that movie, Superman Returns, can be best described as inessential.
I see. So we lost on all fronts.
Pretty much. So Brett Ratner, who you may know, he did the Rush Hour movies.
Oh, I like Rush Hour.
I love Rush Hour 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. He can't count to 3, huh?
He can. He just shouldn't. And he did a movie called Red Dragon, which is a Hannibal Lecter film.
Huh.
It's technically a prequel. It's the one where they brought in Will. You guys remember the TV show Hannibal?
Yeah.
Will, what's his name? Will
Osprey.
That's all that's in my head too.
No, the guy that's not Hannibal.
Yeah. Which is, it's not the best Hannibal movie, but it was solid. I thought it was fine. And he also gave us nothing else worth talking about except for sexual assault allegations in 2017. Including outing Elliot Page before he was ready.
Oh no.
We're about to get into the cast, so I'm just gonna clean up a couple things. Elliot Page is in this film. This was before he had transitioned. So he is playing Kitty Pryde. So I'm going to be using he/her pronouns. This is not any slight against Elliot Page, but in this character, he's playing a woman. So I'm not being a dick. I'm just trying to keep things straight. Anyway, this movie stars Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, Ian McKellen, Famke Janssen, Anna Paquin, Kelsey Grammer, James Marsden, barely, Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Nope, just Rebecca Romaine, excuse me. Sean Ashmore, Aaron Stanford, Vinnie Jones, and Patrick Stewart. It was also written by Simon Kinberg and Zach Penn. Now, we talked about Zach Penn last episode.
We did?
We did.
I see.
I should say I talked about him. I don't know what you were doing.
Listening.
Simon Kinberg. Simon Kinberg is... how do I put this? Unsteady when it comes to movies in general. So I'm gonna list the ones that he's directed, or I'm sorry, that he's written. Excuse me.
Okay.
The only film that he has directed is, ironically, Dark Phoenix, which is the reboot of the Dark Phoenix storyline that was released a couple of years ago.
Oh.
And by the look on your face, you don't remember that, do you?
Was that the one that starred, not Arya Stark?
Sansa
Stark?
Stark. So, Simon Kinberg has written Triple X, State of the Union, which sucks. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is okay.
Yeah, I like that movie.
X-Men, The Last Stand, spoiler alert, which sucks.
Yeah, it's true. It's bad.
Jumper, which sucks.
Was that the one where you could jump through pictures?
That is the one where they were just teleporters. They jumped. He did have pictures, though. As long as he could see it and knew what it looked like, that's where you could go.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that movie was bad.
2009's Sherlock Holmes, which is pretty good.
Was that the one with Robert Downey Jr.?
That is the one with Robert Downey Jr.
Is that the one where he fights ghosts?
I think that's the sequel.
Oh, okay. Well, the first one was pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. The second one where he fought ghosts.
It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So Sherlock Holmes, which is pretty good. This Means War, which sucks.
The song by Mariana Trench?
No, the movie with Tom Hardy and Chris Pine as they fight over a lady.
Of course.
X-Men Days of Future Past.
Oh, boy.
Which is great. Fantastic, which sucks.
Which Fantastic Four is this one?
That is the one, the newer one.
Where they're kids and they go to space?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not the one with Chris Evans with a Jersey accent.
No, that one's fine.
Is it, though? Is it?
X-Men Apocalypse, which I've heard sucks. X-Men Dark Phoenix, which I've heard sucks. And a movie called The 355, which I have no knowledge of, one way or the other. So Simon Kinberg is a writer who can fuck right off.
I see. He's not very good at his job, is he?
No, but he'll be back.
Oh, boy.
He has his fingerprints all up in the X-Men to this very day.
Great. Wonderful. Glad to have you, buddy.
So, this movie takes 2 comic book story arcs.
Yeah.
Which is Gifted and the Dark Phoenix Saga. Mm-hmm. Probably only needs the one.
Yeah.
But we will get into that because that's the point of this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm ready if you're ready.
Yeah.
Curtain up. This movie begins in the 80s, as all good things do.
Oh, boy.
A baby Professor X and a baby Magneto walk up to a suburbs house to talk about some lady with a lot of power. This is played by Patrick Stewart and by Ian McKellen, and this is the first movie to ever use digitalized de-aging.
Oh, I thought that was just makeup.
No, this is digitalized de-aging, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like, sometimes it's atrocious, like in other movies. Here it's okay because it's not used too much.
I was about to say, they OD'd on Carrie Fisher and it was terrible.
Yeah, boy, did they. This is Jean Grey's house. They are trying to recruit her into the school. Her father calls her powers an illness, and Magneto looks like he's about to choke a bitch.
I don't care what the internet... Well, the internet probably agrees with me. But these guys are husbands, and I refuse to take any comments otherwise.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, here we have our 2 dads.
That's what makes... we'll get to it.
Our 2 dads have come to adopt a little girl. And...
yeah, so they're like, hey, can we just talk to her alone without the normies?
Yeah.
And they go away, and he's like, it's rude to read people's minds. And she's like, huh. And he's like, look, I get it. I'm a mutant too. And she's like, you don't get it. You don't know what I can do. And she proceeds to lift every car on the block, which is pretty cool.
Okay, but, like, immediately, though, I remember the previous movie where it's like, she struggled to move a pen across a room. And I'm like, hold the fucking phone.
Well, they explain that here.
I know, but, like, it's kind of a, wait, what?
Oh, yeah. If you don't know that,
Yeah.
it's a bit confusing. Professor X says that he can help her control her powers before her powers control her. And he can, but not very well. 10 years later, that's 10 years later from the 80s.
So we're in the 90s.
It is 1996. Industrialist Warren Worthington II discovers his son is a mutant. There is a scene where there is a young boy in the bathroom cutting himself.
Yeah. He's trying to saw off his mutation.
Yeah, we trigger alert, by the way. It is the most close, like, analogous to self-harm. He is trying to cut off his own wings.
Yeah.
Which
He's an archangel. He has wings. Like,
yeah, is he archangel or is it just angel?
It might just be angel.
I don't think they ever mentioned.
They don't say it in the thing, but the name of the X-Men is either archangel or angel, and I can't remember which.
Point is, it's uncomfortable, and this movie doesn't deserve it the way that X2 did.
Yeah, it's true.
So, like, he busts through the door. He's like, let me in! Let me in! He's like, no, Dad, just a second. And he's like, you let me in right now! And he kicks open the door and says, oh God, not you. In a show of expert parenting.
Yeah, great. Wonderful. A+.
The next scene says, somewhere in the future. And everything has gone to shit. We are post-apocalyptic. The Sentinels have attacked. We don't really see them. Like, we see them in mist.
Yeah. There's a giant robot head.
That's a Sentinel.
Oh.
And they're, it's all going to hell. And Logan is like, hey, Colossus, throw me. Which is known as the fastball special.
My favorite move, to hit someone with another someone.
And, like, Storm is like, no, Logan, we attack as a team. And I don't get it, because this is pretty much a team.
That is a team move, guys.
Yeah, Colossus grabs him by, like, the scruff of his neck and hucks him like he's a bouncer at a bar. He throws him up and away. He slices the Sentinel's head off, and it falls down. And there's a lot of the younger X-Men. We see Rogue and we see Bobby, and it's not going so great for them.
Yeah. Kitty's here.
Kitty Pryde is here. Kitty Pryde, played by Elliot Page, who I don't think gets enough to do.
Not really.
They
Wasn't Kitty Pryde into, like, we could see her running through the walls, and she was like 5?
I think maybe. I don't know if that was still Elliot Page.
I don't think it was Elliot Page. I'm just saying, in the canon of this universe, in X2, Kitty was like 5.
I think you're right.
Because remember on the raid on the house,
Yeah.
someone was running through the walls. I could assume it was Kitty.
I think you might be right.
And now they're like 18.
And now they're doing well for themselves. So they cut the head off, and Storm is mad. She's like, we're a team. We attack as a team. Me. And
Logan's like, that was my last cigar.
That's really lame. And as they all kind of discuss, the room fades away, and it was the danger room.
Danger!
It was all a training simulation.
Hooray.
Which is up there with it was all a dream as lame-ass plot twists go.
I mean, like, we can't just throw them in the middle of a war to open the movie.
Yes, we can. Fuck you. No, you're right. We can't, but, like, Jesus.
I mean, what did you expect, really?
I don't know. It's such a cliche.
It is. But have we hit that point where it's a cliche now in the early 2000s? Or do you think...
Well, this is mid-2000s. This is 2006, remember. And this movie is very of its time.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like a movie that came out in 2006. I feel that X-Men, the first one, and X2 kind of shed their like early 2000s kind of thing. This one does not.
No. Okay.
Anyway, so Logan is like, I don't know why you're yelling at me. I don't even teach here. I'm just like, if you're mad at somebody, take it up with Scott.
I teach art.
Yeah. Cyclops has not gotten over the death of Jean Grey. And I'm not saying you have to, but I am saying hurry up. Because he is having visions and hearing the voice of Jean Grey calling to him. And that sucks.
You would think in a house full of psychics, someone would be like, "Hey, that's not normal. Hey,
Yeah.
buddy, don't."
As far as I know, he doesn't tell anybody.
House full of psychics, though.
Yeah, I'm saying. Trouble in Paradise, as Bobby and Rogue are fighting because she can't touch him without killing him.
Yeah.
Bobby says, "Hey, like, that's," and she's like, "Oh, I can't touch my boyfriend and I can't kiss him without killing him." And he's like, "Have I ever put like any pressure on you because of that? Like, it's not a problem. We can work through it." And she says, "You're a guy. You only ever want one thing." What a cunt.
Who wrote this? Who's responsible for this?
Yeah.
What? First of all, there's a very easy solution. Have you ever seen Pushing Up Daisies? Second of all,
Yeah.
you're just going to need a lot of saran wrap. I'm sorry, it's going to require a lot of saran wrap.
And I get this, like, of course you're going to be upset about that.
Yeah.
But it would go over better if this wasn't the first of 3 scenes Rogue is in, and then never again.
It's true. Like, Rogue doesn't want to be here.
So, fun fact, Rogue, played by Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
Donut Lord, James Marsden, who plays Cyclops. Both had other shit to do.
Obviously.
James Marsden was in the previously named Superman movie.
Oh, okay.
And Anna Paquin was in a movie, I believe, called The Squid and the Whale. So they couldn't be here all that much.
Oh, okay. So they really didn't want to be here.
Yeah, it's not that they didn't, but this movie was also rushed into production.
Why?
I'm not sure.
Wait, we threw $1 trillion into this.
Yes.
And we rushed it?
Yes.
What the hell, people?
Yeah, there's a reason why we didn't get a 4th one.
Okay.
And
it wasn't because it sucks.
Oh no, we make sequels to things that suck all the time. Look at Rush Hour 3.
It's true.
I like Rush Hour 2. I saw that movie in the theater.
It was pretty good.
Excuse me, Mystique is also the other one who had other stuff to do.
Oh, that's why we did what we did to Mystique.
Yes, we will see that here in a little bit.
What the fuck was Mystique up to? Was she in, like, the Pokemon movie?
I don't know.
Turns out she's Mewtwo.
She's Mewtwo. Good for her. So meanwhile, at the Department of Mutant Affairs, the Secretary for Mutant Affairs, Hank McCoy...
That feels racist. I don't know how.
Yeah.
It feels racist.
Hank McCoy, who I had to, every single time I wrote him down, try not to say Hank Pym. Hank McCoy, played by Kelsey Grammer, is a great big blue bastard.
Yeah.
He is a beast, which I do not know if they ever call him that.
No, I don't think so.
He gets called into a national defense meeting where they are on the lookout for Magneto. They have not found him, but they did find Mystique. And they're like, "Hey, listen, Raven, you tell us what we need to know, Raven. You can tell us what we need to know, Raven." And she's like, "I don't answer to that. That's my slave name."
Oh, boy.
Little on the nose.
Okay.
X-Men has always never quite hidden what it's a metaphor for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's always been fairly blunt, but this feels like Triple H hit me in the head with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. She flips out on taking out her captors. She just takes them all out, and she chokes one of them out with her handcuffs and chokes them out. Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Homo sapien," and says that with a hard R. Like, she leans on homo. And, like, Alright.
Okay, but, like, here's the problem. They're all still Homo sapiens. One just has a mutation. Like...
Well, yeah. I don't know if they ever changed it's like Homo mutanus or something like that, or...
No, because they still all have the same biochemistry, or else this plot doesn't work!
Boy, does this plot ever not work. Meanwhile, in class, Professor X talks about the morality of mutant kind. And when the use of their powers tips them over the edge to tyrannical.
Mm-hmm.
Professor X isn't an idiot. He knows that they are stronger than humanity and they can take over at any moment.
Yeah.
But he asks, when is it too much? Mm-hmm. They also, there's I didn't really write it down because it's not super interesting to the plot, but there is a man who is basically a vegetable. He has no brain function whatsoever.
Yeah.
And Professor X is like, I can take a consciousness and I can put him in that body. And, like, that consciousness can have a new life. But, like, what does that mean for the person who used to be there? Like, when are we playing God?
Also, the doctor's called Dr. Moira Taggart. And for our comic book people out there, that means that she is the problem with Days of Future Past. Okay, so the doctor that was taking care of the vegetable.
Right.
Her name is Moira Taggart.
Yeah.
She is the problem in Days of Future Past.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so in Days of Future Past, the actual storyline is Moira Taggart's mutation is that she can reincarnate. Right?
Okay.
She lives a perfectly normal life the first time. She dies of congestive heart failure when she's like 80 or something.
Oh, you were telling me about this. This is in the RPG book, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Moira Taggart comes back in a different timeline, and she gets to live her life again. She can keep, every time she dies, she just jumps to a different timeline.
That's making more and more sense as you say that, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, the thing about Moira Taggart is that because she retains all her memories from every timeline she's in, she eventually just kind of, like, decides, you know what? I keep trying to save mutants, and I keep failing. So you know what? It's all gotta go.
So, fuck it, YOLO. I've never read the comic, but I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
So, I do you remember if that's in the movie?
No.
I don't either. We'll get there. But, that's interesting. Thanks, Kitty.
Point is, it's a reference to a different storyline. I think they were going to jump into Days of Future Past in number 4.
Yeah, but we didn't get there.
But we did not get there.
Professor X starts talking about this, but then looks and sees a storm coming in. So he dismisses class and goes and talks to Storm. And she's like, how'd you know I was out here? How many fucking people can control the weather, Storm? Hands down, Juno.
I mean...
Storm wonders why they're still hiding, because the president is understanding of mutant kind. There's a mutant in government. Like, things are getting better. Professor X says that they're still hiding because there are still enemies out there who want him dead. You can assume he's talking about Magneto, but then all Magneto wants is, like, mutant kind too, so...
Yeah, but also there's some normal dude, like, in 2 who's just like, what if we just shoot him?
That is a good point. And Professor X says that he hoped that one day Storm might take over after Professor X is gone. And she's like, whoa, what about Scott? Like, what about Cyclops? He's clearly your next in line.
Yeah.
And Professor X says he's changed too much. The death of Jean hit him too hard, and he is not who he used to be. Because we see him... actually, we'll get to that later. We'll get to what Scott's doing.
Yeah, Scott's not good.
So, Beast calls in to the mansion. Everybody says hi. And he tells them that they have discovered a mutant cure. A way to suppress the mutant gene so much that it becomes moot.
Yeah, that's a wild shout.
That is. And so basically there is this kid, does he ever get a name?
No, I'm just gonna call him 11.
Yeah, it's a bald kid in a pure white room. And his power is the nullification of other people's powers. It's a little bit like rogues, only he doesn't have to touch them, and it doesn't kill them. It only just takes away their power. He shows up 3 or 4 times, to look out the window whimsically,
Yeah.
and then I don't think he gets more than like 1 or 2 lines. Thanks for coming, kid.
Like, they set up this kid really well, only to, like, not use him.
Yeah. So Storm isn't thrilled.
No.
She's like, she says, they can't cure us because there's nothing to cure. Nothing is wrong with us, says the woman who can control weather to the one who kills everyone she touches and the man who can't help but look like a giant blue beast.
Yeah, so it's one thing to control the weather. That's dope, right? Storm can charge her phone on a whim. Like, I kind of see where Rogue's coming from on this one. Like,
I do too, and that's what, but they seem to believe the cure as something that is overall bad, like overall a negative.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their mutation is nothing to be ashamed of, which is true. But some of them are just a pain in the ass.
yeah,
Like, Rogue's kind of sucks.
it does.
To touch somebody and have them killed. You know? Or, you know, they take away their life force. You know the drill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people... Even Beast, who is one of the major proponents of the cure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, he looks like he looks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would like to be able to look like a normal dude.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I think... And I've never read the comic this comes from. But I think the cure isn't... I should really stop calling it the cure, but that's what they call it. Isn't unilaterally good or evil. But this movie really makes you think it is.
I mean, like, they're not... Okay, they are using it as bullets, spoiler, throughout the fucking thing.
That will come up, yes.
But, like, there are people who are electing to take it.
Yes.
So, like, let them. Like, if that's what you want to do with your life.
So the problem comes later on when they realize that the cure is turned into weapons, which it is. Mm-hmm. And so as a mutant, you think like, oh, eventually they're going to cure us all. So when do we... So, like, the problem here isn't the cure.
Yeah.
It's the goddamned government.
I've been saying.
It really is.
It's always the government. Like,
they do eventually, we get to it, they turn it into a weapon. They turn it into ammunition to fire at the mutants, and, like, it's a one touch and you're done. So, here we are.
Here we go.
Meanwhile, at an underground fight or fetish club, I'm not sure which one, Magneto reestablishes the Brotherhood of Mutants. We see here a bunch of mooks.
Yeah, so
many mooks.
Here's the thing. He got very specific mooks. He got club kids. Like,
Kid club kids.
he got the club kid gays on his side. Whereas Xavier got the smart gays. You know what I mean? These kids, like, you're like, oh, well, they dress weird. No, they're just like club kids.
Yeah, no, they really are. Like, they have the chokers. They have, like...
Yeah, mesh shirts.
One of them's got a pacifier. That's not true.
I'm sure if we looked around, someone had one.
Yeah, probably. So they oppose the cure and want... because they are worried it'll be weaponized and used to exterminate the mutant race.
Yeah.
So with the help of Pyro, Callisto, and several other mutants...
Is that what their name is?
Yeah, Paul Pyro's the one who throws fire.
Well, yeah, I know that one.
And then Callisto was the other lady with the... I don't even know what she does. She's got like a little gem in her chin that like lights up and...
Oh, she was the pseudo Xavier, the one who can sense people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, this one. She dies horribly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, she kind of had it coming. Whatever.
So one of them, I believe it's Callisto. She said, "If you're so proud of being a mutant, where's your mark?" To which he rolls up his sleeve and reveals his Holocaust tattoo. To which he says that he promised to never let another needle touch his skin. And that's that's a good point.
Yeah.
But there's something about Magneto's characterization in this movie.
Yeah.
That's so much more bad than it is in the other movies.
Well, that's because Magneto, yes, he will go in there and he says, you know what? We've been nice to you guys too long. let's do this. You know?
Yeah.
But in this characterization, it wasn't the frustration with that Xavier's been too nice for him too long. Mm-hmm. He just chose violence. He just woke up and chose violence.
I feel like, so he didn't go from like 0 to 100, but I do feel like he went from like 40 to 100 real fast.
Yeah.
Because there was always this simmering tension, like, these fucking humans, I swear to God. We needed like another movie, maybe a Dark Phoenix film, who knows? We needed another movie to build up the tension that Magneto is truly ready to let these fuckers go. Yeah. And then you do this thing. But they didn't, so...
Magneto was very much a precision strike. Used to be, at least.
Yes.
He was like, you know what? We'll just kill the president and get it over with, you know?
Yeah.
But this time around, he's just like, what if we just burned it all down? What if we just leveled society?
What if everybody dies?
And then we'll try again. Like, let's do that.
We are like 10 minutes into the movie.
This
is going to be a long one, kids. Pee now.
No.
Anyway, Cyclops is in full-on mope and brood mode as he gets on his motorcycle and goes all the way to Alkali Lake in Alberta where Jean died. This is a direct retread of Logan's story from last movie.
Woo!
He keeps hearing the voice of Jean telling him that this is where she is. He freaks out. This is the first of 2 times we get a man shooting like, some sort of anger and then going into the sky. So he just takes off his glasses and he shoots the water because that'll learn him. And it creates a whirlpool in an intensely silly scene. Out of the whirlpool comes Jean Grey.
Is the implication that she needed to be hit by Cyclops to get out of the water?
I don't really know.
Like, why couldn't she just crawl out of the water like a normal person?
At any point, she could have. She's got very red hair and a jet black cat suit.
Don't know where she got that.
That's not what she died in, right?
No, she died in an X-Men suit.
Yeah, this is not an X-Men suit. And Cyclops goes, Jean, how? And Jean goes, I don't know. Good writing, everyone.
Good job. High fives all around.
She wants to see his eyes, but he says no because death. Mm-hmm. And she says no, but I can control it now. Which she can, kind of, but she kisses Scott, and it kind of like fucks up his face. I don't really know what's happening to him. I know it's bad.
It's bad. I think she's absorbing power, maybe?
So that's what I thought. I thought she was absorbing his power, like Rogue does. But it's not really. It's
not
kind
really.
of...
I don't know what's going on. But the long short of it is bad. If your dead wife is calling you into a fucking lake, take note, Ludo fans. If someone dead is calling you into a lake, do not go towards the lake. Get in your Camry and drive as fast as you can.
So, yeah, they kiss. This happens, and we cut to Professor Xavier going like, Scott. And they're like, what the fuck? And he goes, Scott's in Alkali Lake, go get him. I hope you enjoyed James Marsden's performance, because he's dead.
Yeah, he's super dead.
We don't see a body. We don't see, like, his death, like, his, like, him falling over, or, like, any sort of, like, anything. We don't see any sort of anything. He's dead.
Yeah, we saw the make-out. We saw a smash cut. And
that was it.
That was it.
And actually, I spent a lot of the movie going, wait, is Cyclops really dead? Because they kind of brush it off.
Yeah. I mean, in their defense, not even, like, the characters truly know what happened to Cyclops. Right?
Yeah.
So, there is that. Also, I'd like to point out that canonically, the mansion is in New York. They're going to Alberta. They just casually drive across country.
Oh, no, they got a jet.
He came there on a motorcycle. Twice.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't have a jet. That's a good point. Yeah, there is no sense of time in this movie.
Or space. No.
Or like, at a certain point, they're like, It's like, oh, we learned about this cure. And Xavier's like, oh, they're announcing it on TV. Oh, the cure is ready. And then the next scene, it's like, it's going all over the world. How long has it been? We all fucking know how long it takes the American government to hand out cures.
I mean, if you're doing it to suppress somebody, we can do it real quick.
Oh no.
To help people? No.
No, but
to harm people, I'm pretty sure we can get it on the market in 3 to 5 weeks.
You said the police could do nothing. Could do nothing for me. Nothing to help you. We can do all we can to hinder you.
Yeah.
So, it is Logan, and it is Storm, and it is nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
And they arrive at Alkali Lake. I mean Dagobah, I mean Silent Hill, I mean the island from Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Delete is appropriate. Because as they walk around, it is foggy. Mm-hmm. It is, like, weird and misty. Gravity is taking a holiday because like giant boulders are kind of suspended in the air.
Mm-hmm. Cyclops glasses are just like chilling in midair.
Yeah, Cyclops glasses are just kind of there, and they're just like, well, that's bad, and they don't worry about it again.
Well, that's because they found Jean, and Jean should not be found.
Yes, they did find Jean, who is not injured whatsoever.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know why she's unconscious.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you either. I really don't. I guess she decided to take a nap after eating her husband. I don't know.
That's, you know what? After I eat, I feel sleepy too. So Jean Grey is the only Class 5 mutant they've ever encountered. And we kind of like, how did she survive? And Professor Xavier is basically like, I guess she wrapped herself in a cocoon of power.
What?
That's all we're gonna get.
Also, Storm's in the corner like, hey!
Yeah. According to Professor Xavier, Jean was so powerful that he had to basically put up divisions in her brain to, I guess, let little bits of power out every so often.
He had to put a spigot in.
Yeah. But that gave her DID, dissociative identity disorder. So there are two kind of genes in her head. Mm-hmm. One is the one we know with a kind of hold over her powers and the ability to communicate like a human being, Jean Grey. And the other one who we only know as Phoenix. And Logan is like, you're fucking psychotic.
You broke her.
You broke her. Like, really what it is, like, you broke her. And Professor Xavier is like, shut up. You wouldn't get it. I don't have to explain myself to anybody. Least of all you.
Or the viewer.
And this feels very unlike Professor X.
Right? He should sit there and be like, look, I did what I had to. I'm not proud of it. You know...
Yeah, like...
Kid was a godchild. Have you seen Twilight Zone? You know?
Or, I don't know, Star Trek?
Star what?
Never heard of it.
What? No. I hear the lead actor is very handsome. And an excellent actor.
An excellent actor. But yeah, I feel like nobody's character is kind of correct here, except for Logan's. It's kind of hard to fuck up Wolverine.
It's really hard to fuck up Wolverine.
But they do it. Not here, but later. Boy. And so, specifically with Professor X and with Magneto, God, it feels like... It feels bad. Like...
Yeah, so Xavier has always taken the kind route to it. Like, how was this the kind route? Like, how is this the kind understanding route?
And like you mentioned, he said, like, I don't have to explain myself to anybody, not even you. And he doesn't!
What?
Not only does he not explain it, the movie doesn't explain it.
No.
This could have used a flashback.
Yep.
This could have used so many things. And it's kind of like...
Seriously, we could have had, like, just a 5-minute thing where he was just like, kid, godchild, had to stop her. You know?
Yeah, and even something where, like, he might feel bad about it. Or he feels, like, some sort of shame over it. No, not really. And as we'll find out later, I don't want to spoil, but he doesn't get much of a chance afterwards either.
Yeah, okay. So, we're doing this.
Okay, so we're doing this. Meanwhile, the cure is released. It's Cure Day, everyone.
Hooray!
And the guy who created it and his son, remember the one we saw cutting his wings off earlier?
He's an adult now.
He's an adult man. And it's like, good news, son. It's time for the cure. And he's like, cool. I don't know if I want that. And he's like, shut up, son. Of course you do.
Oh, boy.
And so they strap him in, and he's like, no. And he breaks out, and his wings go, and they're like angel's wings. Honestly, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I swear to you, this is the dialogue unchanged. It's a better life. It's what we all want. And he goes, no, Dad. It's what you want.
This sounds like a grown 30-year-old. Like,
yeah. Even if he's 18, he doesn't look 18, but if he's 18, like...
Yeah.
But nobody said... What kind of ABC after-school special? What the fuck? Who wrote that?
What's your name? The guy at the top.
Simon Kinberg?
Yeah, he wrote that. Here's the thing. When you have big old wings like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard to hide. But, like, him walking into the room, one, he was wearing an unusually large trench coat, and
Also
two,
true.
he had, suspenders to keep his wings down. And, like, he's living a reasonably normal life, all things considered.
Yeah.
It's not like he grew an extremity, or he can't control it. He's just a bird person now.
That's funny when you put it like that.
But also, like, way to freak him out. Because everyone else who gets this shot, it's like getting the vaccine. You sit down, we sterilize you, we click it, and you go.
And away you go.
They strapped him down like there are fuzzy cuffs, there is a slate chair. Like, if you were trying to scare someone into getting this shot, this is exactly what you do.
Honestly, it looks more like they're about to give him the super serum from Captain America.
They didn't even give him, like, fucking cuffs for the super serum. They just put him in a chamber.
Oh,
I'm using my hands like people can see me. Like, this is a visual medium.
I do the same thing. So he flies out of there, and then we see him maybe twice more, but this is the end of his plot relevancy. Magneto arrives at the transportation truck, where they are taking Mystique from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. He kind of like just chucks trucks aside in kind of a cool image, but I will say, so if you remember back in the first movie, I said how much I liked the special effects and how real they seemed.
Yes.
This movie's very CG heavy.
It's true.
And like, of course it kind of has to be. It's a superhero film, but everything feels very weightless. And I understand, like, he's so strong, he's throwing trucks away.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, but it looks like somebody's like clicking on it and dragging it away. Like, there's no like, it's not like, look at this immense amount of power he's using. It's just like, yeet, yeet, yeet.
I mean, that is exactly what he did. He did yeet them. But, like, also, he always gave them a fighting chance to turn back. Remember the bank robbing scene? He could have just killed them all there.
Yeah, those guys were dead. Like, he literally crushes them and throws them away. So he gets on there, he frees Mystique. And she's like, hey, there are other mutants here who we can, like, bring up to the thing. We find one guy who robbed 7 banks at the same time. This is multiple man. He can be in multiple places at once.
Do we see him again?
Yes. We do. Not much, but...
Okay.
And then a giant man made only of muscles, who, once he gets enough momentum, he can literally not be stopped. This is the Juggernaut. Wait for it. His first line... This is Vinnie Jones, by the way. Plays Juggernaut. This big, hulking individual. And his first line is, let me out of here, I need to pee. Start as you mean to go on. However, as they are working on this whole thing, the guard is still alive. He grabs the cure gun and shoots at Magneto, but Mystique takes it first. And boom, dart in the shoulder. And she is rendered human.
For the first time ever, we see Mystique as just a person.
Yeah. She is just a person.
Darkholm, or whatever her name
Raven
is.
Darkholm, that is the name.
Yeah, I did it.
And there is a point where I was like, oh god, they hit her. I'm like, I wonder what's gonna happen next. Like, how does she go about this? So you expect Magneto to like pick her up and carry her, and he says, "Sorry, my dear, you're no longer one of us," and leaves her.
Rude. What is this? She is your right-hand girl. What is this?
Now, what? Fuck.
I don't remember him throwing people away.
And like she was forcibly changed from mutant to human.
Yeah.
You could use that as a martyr. You could use that as like...
Yeah, and he's incredibly smart. He would have been able, like, look what they did to our girl, Mystique. Yeah. Oh, the tragedy.
And I hope you enjoyed Rebecca Romijn's performance. Because she's gone.
It's true. She's lying on the cold, hard ground.
Like, that's it. You see her one more time, and it is on a television screen.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's how you do away with one of the most prolific characters in X-Men. Now, according to backstage reports, this was supposed to be the third and final movie of the trilogy.
Really?
They wanted 3 movies, kind of like the Star Wars series, and then we move on to a different group of mutants, a different group of that kind of thing.
I mean, there is 1,000 different mutants. Go get Gambit and the twins. Like, yeah.
Gambit was supposed to be in this movie.
Gambit was supposed to be here?
Yep, but obviously, as you know, he was not here. So, this movie feels a lot like we've had 3 movies. We do not want a 4th.
Yeah.
And so you see a lot of characters either die or be thrown away with no regard for like anything.
Okay, but there is definitely plot threads where like, what if 4th though?
I was gonna say, so well, we'll get to that. But like, I feel like we're going over this fairly like lightly because that's how it is in the film. Cyclops is dead.
Super dead.
Like the leader of the X-Men is dead. Mystique is no longer Mystique. She's just a lady now.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the first time we see a nude scene in the X-Men movies. Fuck off.
I mean, technically, Mystique never wears clothes.
Yeah. But it's just...
What?
This movie is so...
It's problematic. Yeah, it's a problem.
It's not even... yeah, it is problematic. But it's so haphazardly put together.
Yeah. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to end it here. Does it want a 4th one? Does it want to do the Dark Phoenix thing? Does it want to do this Cure thing?
Can I be honest? And we're not close to done. So I don't want to show my hand too much. This is not the worst superhero movie there's ever been.
What is?
I don't know. We'll get to it someday, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's a DC movie. Putting that out in the universe.
But this is not the worst superhero movie there's ever been. It's not the worst movie ever. Like, I don't want to say that.
Okay.
But I have not felt this disappointed in a sequel since Men in Black 2.
Oh, dear.
If you guys remember doing Men in Black is one of my favorite movies of all time. Men in Black 2 was the first time I realized movies could be bad. And I don't have the connection with the X-Men the way I did with Men in Black. Like I said, this is the first time I've used it. But there are so many cool ideas and so many cool ways these characters can be used and so many interesting things that can be done. And we're just like, nah. What do you mean, nah? So when I started watching this, I was like, I'm gonna go in, like, I know what people think. I know people think it's gonna be bad, but I don't want to go in with a negative attitude. Like, I want to give this movie the best chance to succeed as it could. And I can feel my score dropping, just like 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2, like
4 again.
4 again. Like, it's and as we talk about it, as we get more and more into it, I get so much angrier.
Sorry.
Because it's all coming to like...
It's all coming back to you now.
It really is. Because like I spend most of the movie writing notes. Because I don't want to just be reading off a Wikipedia article. That's boring. So like I spend the movie watching and like, you know, processing and writing what's going on. And it's really only until now, because we just finished watching it.
Yeah.
Where like I sit with it, and as I'm talking about it with you, talking about it with you guys. And it really settles in.
Really bakes in. Really.
What kind of piece of shit we're dealing with. Anyway, good God almighty. What the fuck is next?
There are too many storylines. Like, okay, I have so many thoughts. Like, if Gambit was here, that means that, like...
Gambit was supposed to be,
Gambit is canonically Rogue's love interest.
Yeah.
Her and Magneto, but Magneto's 75 years old, so that's out.
Gambit was supposed to be another love interest for Rogue, in the same way that actually Kitty Pryde is for Bobby. That's kind of how that, though.
Oh, so we just switched it all around? Is
Very
that what
much.
we did? Okay, I mean, good for you, Kitty Pryde, but, like, also, Gambit, though.
Yeah. So, Beast finds out that they turned the cure into a weapon when he specifically asked them not to. Logan checks over the body of Jean, who wakes up, and they kind of start talking about, like, oh, this is, like, the first time we met, only this time I'm on the bed and you're the one taking care of me.
Yeah.
She hits on Logan real hard.
It goes from 0 to fanfic really fast.
Yeah, and Logan, thinking only with his penis, decides to just jump right on in there. Despite the fact that he knows she's married and does not know Scott's dead yet.
Well, no one's ever accused Logan of being intelligent.
This is true. So as they start making out, the electricity starts going wibbly, as it does. Logan only finally realizes something's wrong when she psychics his belt off with a comedic ping. So Logan's like, we shouldn't do this. This isn't you. And she's like, this is Xavier's fault. You're a little bitch now. He tamed you. You should be an animal. And he's like, I'd like to leave. And so Logan's like, what happened to Scott? What happened to Scott? And her personalities switch. And Jean is like, I don't know what happened to where I am. And she says, you need to kill me before I lose control again. Back at the Magneto Fetish Club, he has one of my favorite lines, which is, they said the cure was supposed to be voluntary. Voluntary? They put it into a gun.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a point.
That's funny. Magneto and the Mutant Underground begin to build an army of other mutants who are just pissed off at life. And one of them is like, hey, we found one of those mutants. It's level 5. And he's like, ooh, Jean Grey. Anyway, he doesn't go ooh like Homer Simpson. But
He's just like, there's only one person that could be. Oh, no.
whoop, 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 whoop.
Again, Storm's in the background like, I am literally an Omega threat mutant. What is this?
So, naturally, if you are... So, Logan is knocked on his ass. And they run in like, what happened? And he's like, Jean, I think she's killed Scott. And they're like, no.
Are you sure?
Yeah. And Charles is like, Logan, you piece of shit. Look what you've done.
Okay, first of all, what? Second of all, you are literally the most powerful psychic in the universe. How, one, did you not find Jean Grey using Cerebro? Two, not know if Scott's dead or alive. Again, using Cerebro.
Yeah, I will say, they do claim that she is blocking him out, so he can't use Cerebro. She's just stronger than he is.
Okay.
But the Scott thing, yeah, they never really mentioned that.
And three, again, if you just bought security cameras for the mansion, you would know that she's gone crazy.
But, yeah, so Xavier's like, you stupid you should have did what I told. Didn't I tell you? I told you, didn't I?
Who wrote this? I know who wrote this.
I know exactly who wrote this. So we go back to Jean Grey's old family house, who I guess no one else was living in.
I guess all the decor is still from the 80s, so like
yeah, everything is...
we're going back to the 80s set piece because
But, like, if you are a mutant,
Yeah.
you've been taken over by your dark half,
Uh-huh.
why would she go to your old childhood home?
Well, okay, so presumably he cracked her like a goddamn plate when she was a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he locked that up when she would have gone to the school back then, for all you know, this thing still thinks that they're like a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah. You know what? That's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
And you know what would have been really cool?
If they said that?
If they said that in the movie.
Yeah, I know.
Because honestly,
Yeah.
that is like could be very correct.
Yeah.
Um,
Because, like, in my crazy kayfabe of trying to fill in these wacky fucking gaps, like,
the gaping holes in this movie's story.
from what I can understand, that when you block off a personality, from what I learned from TikTok, from the A system, right,
Yeah.
is that they just basically black out until they come back online.
Yeah.
So, like, if this blacked out for 30-something years...
She would return to the one place she felt at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, again, that's not what they
said, but that is, honestly,
Yeah.
that would be a great storyline point.
Yeah. Just make her talk like a child. Make her freak out like she's a kid.
Yeah. So they both approach the old gray house, and they both decide to see her again.
Aye.
And Xavier's like, Eric, what are you doing here? I guess same thing as you. Don't act all high and mighty.
I'm here to get the fucking mutant. What do you lose?
And Xavier's like, we have to get her back. She's sick. She needs help. She's ill. And Magneto goes, you sound like her parents.
So our two dads go to talk to our little girl here.
So we go inside. They send out the Brotherhood of Mutants B team to keep anybody from coming inside. So Xavier kind of rolls in and he's like, hey, come to bring you home. And she's like, I have no home. And Magneto's like, right, my turn.
Right, that was dumb.
Hey, so I'm here. He's been holding your powers back. I don't want that at all. I want you, like, let's use all your powers. Let's do it. And she's like, And, like, 3 or 4 times,
Yeah.
Xavier tries to read her mind. And she goes, stop trying to get in my head. Get out of my head. To the point where Magneto's like, I would listen, dumbass. To which he does not.
Yay.
She's like, get out of my head. I don't want you in my head. And Magneto goes, hear that? I think he wants to give you the cure. Magneto does not want Jean Grey. He just wants to push Xavier.
Which is a bad time when there's a psychotic mutant rolling around.
Yeah. So Xavier goes, you need to learn how to control your powers. You need to learn how to control them before you kill somebody like you killed Scott.
Oh, God. You guys suck at this.
You see what I mean about Professor Xavier not being in character?
Yeah.
Like, stupid.
It's so stupid.
Anyway.
Moving right along.
So this obviously triggers her entirely. No shit. As she, like, lets her powers go, busts all the windows out, and Logan's like, right, going in there. And Storm's like, please.
Gotta fuck
God.
him up.
Yeah, gotta fuck him up. He goes, please, God, no. Don't. Okay.
Your bones are literally made of metal. Okay.
And we have a fairly decent non-mutant fight scene.
There must be no one living in this entire neighborhood, because you don't see neighbors, you don't see police officers,
Yeah.
you don't hear screams. This is a set piece of a neighborhood.
I was gonna say, we got police last time. We didn't get shit here.
No.
So we have a fight throughout the house. Storm gets put through a plate glass table.
Yeah.
And Magneto is like, right, let's get out of here. And she throws him, like, aside. And he, like, collides into the cupboards and cannot move. Like, she's holding him there. And so it's a one-on-one brain battle with her and X. She lifts him out of the chair, kind of suspending him in midair. And he's like, wait, stop, don't. And he begins to slow time down to a crawl. So you see shards of glass and water and droplets, all that, suspended in air, which is a fairly cool scene. And he looks to her. He looks towards Logan. Looks to her, and his last words are, "Don't let it control you." As Professor Charles Xavier is ripped apart, atom by atom, until there is nothing left.
He got snapped.
Professor Charles Xavier is dead.
Yo.
We are an hour into this movie. Magneto tries to tell her to stop, but I mean, he's in no place.
And also, he's like, "No, stop, police."
Yeah, so Magneto kind of runs over to a stunned Phoenix who really kind of can't believe her power, and gets her away. As Storm and Logan, there's no body to see.
Yeah.
They just see the chair. As we cut to Professor Charles Xavier's funeral, to which Storm has actually a very nice monologue. There's been a solid monologue in all three of these films. She says, "We live in an age of darkness, a world full of fear, hate, and intolerance. But in every age, there are those who fight against it. Charles Xavier was born into a world divided, a world he tried to heal, a mission he never saw accomplished. It seems that it's the destiny of great men to see their goals unfulfilled. Charles was more than a leader, more than a teacher. He was a friend. When we are afraid, he gives us strength. When we were alone, he gave us a family. He may be gone, but his teachings live on through us, his students. Wherever you may go, we must carry on his vision. And that is a vision of a world united."
It's a very sweet sentiment.
I wish it was in a better movie.
Yep.
It's just, I wish it was in a better movie. Because that's, the death of Charles Xavier is something we've had a couple of times in a couple of different iterations. So he's not untouchable as a character. But it should be more than it is in this film.
Yeah.
Because, like with a lot of the deaths, we just kind of paper over it real fast. Like, well, he's dead.
That's true, because we put so many different plot lines in this movie, but none of them are complete.
So that's the thing. This movie is 2 plot lines. Which is, what was it? It was The Great Divide and
Dark Phoenix.
It needed 1.
Yeah.
And honestly, probably Dark Phoenix, because we set that up in 2.
Yeah.
You keep Dark Phoenix, because when we split things like this, we waste 2 great ideas.
It's true.
Because after this, we don't talk about Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, she just literally stands next to Charles Xavier like a fucking zombie for the rest of the movie.
You mean Magneto?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She is not anything, honestly.
Oh, you said a zombie, just like...
Yeah, until the end.
It's me. Hi.
So, this reminds me a lot of Spider-Man 3.
Oh, no!
Yeah, that's not good. We can either do a great Venom film or a great Sandman film.
Yeah.
But blending them together ruins them both.
Yeah.
Because, the Sandman film, which is clearly the one they wanted to go with,
Yeah.
has a lot of great stuff in it. And then also, here's Venom. And then, I forgot, they also did the Hobgoblin storyline. We'll get to Spider-Man at some point. Jesus Christ, speaking of bad third films.
Oh, no.
But yeah, we have to stop cramming 2 storylines into one film. Because it just fucks with them both.
Why do they do this, Cutie? You are the movie genius. Why would they do this?
I don't really know. Maybe it's because they don't feel like one is strong enough. Maybe they fit more people in because they want to do the most popular thing.
Right.
So with Spider-Man, it was Venom. They want Venom. It's like, well, I don't have it planned for Venom. You do now, asshole. It's like, oh, well, we're working on Dark Phoenix. Like, well, we need a war between mutants. I'm like, we don't really. But the thing is, you can do Dark Phoenix and then do the war afterwards and have Dark Phoenix play,
The Wanda character.
or like a mythological figure, like a mutant who was killed either by, systemic human oppression or by, like the mutants trying to, there's so many ways you could do it.
Yeah.
But they didn't, so here we are.
No, she is just a genocidal maniac that Magneto just knows now.
Yeah, that's the...
And that's what Dark Phoenix is from all accounts that I can take from that. It is a dark version of Jean Grey that is a genocidal maniac. And that is great.
That's fine, yeah.
Whatever. Can that be the villain, please? How is this not the villain?
Anyway, Bobby meets Kitty Pryde, who they kind of grieve at the loss of Professor Xavier. Mm-hmm. And Bobby's like, look, why don't... We got to do something that's not be sad. So he takes her ice skating, because he's Iceman. Yeah. And there's like a cute little scene where they're just like chilling. There is nothing romantic about it other than like two people healing together.
Yeah. Rogue
sees it from out a window and is mad.
That's very on brand for a teenager, though.
It is. So Logan's like, what are you doing? And she's got like a briefcase and she's like, I'm the fuck out of here. And Logan's like, what are you doing? And she's like, look, I can't. I'm taking the cure. Like I'm out of here. I don't need this shit anymore. This sucks. And he's like, all right, like if you're sure. And she's like, shouldn't you be telling me not to and saying I should unpack and come back? He goes, no, I'm not your father. I'm your friend.
You're kind of her father.
Which is bullshit, but and so I always thought there would be a crisis of faith, a should I or shouldn't I? Maybe when things get bad, she jumps in and helps with her powers.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump right to the end. No, she doesn't. She takes the cure.
Yeah.
That's the end of Rogue. As she goes, Logan's like, all right, see you later, Rogue. And she goes, Marie. Call me Marie. All right, see you, Marie. That's the end of Rogue. Like, she has one more line after all is said and done. And, like, she takes the cure, and that's it. Like, there's no, like, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. What's going on in my brain? Is this really the best thing for me? It's like, no, I'll get this shit over with, I guess. Like, she just kind of treats it as a bit of a pain in the ass.
I mean, it's kind of cut and dry if you look at her power set, right? Like, she doesn't want to kill anybody, and she can't hug or kiss anybody. So, like, it's either everyone you know is in danger from being around you,
right, or
you take the cure.
And
right?
It's not so much that she took the cure that's the problem, although it's apparently Anna Paquin, who is the actor for Rogue, and one of the producers fought hard for this not to be a thing.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes total sense, yeah, because it's dumb, but...
It's dumb, it's so dumb. And, like, I don't even mind that she took the cure, but it's so very, like, well, I'm gonna take the cure, and they're like, okay, bye.
Yeah, she was just like, well, I'm gonna go do that, bye.
And like Logan said, you're not doing this over some boy, are you? And she's like, no, but as far as we know...
She's definitely doing it over some boy.
Yeah, she is.
He's not even worth it.
Oh, God.
For the streets, girl!
Oh, and this is the last we see of, not the last we see, but between Kitty and Bobby.
Yeah.
This is it.
Oh, yeah. This is the most romantic that they usually get, so, if you can call it that.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. On the forest moon of Endor, Phoenix and Magneto look over the Brotherhood of Mutants. They are just, like, in a forest.
In a park somewhere in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, I was going to write that. Somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. Magneto is like, you are just so cool. Like, we are going to, like, take over shit. And she grabs, like, a bunch of cures and, like, points it at him. Just like, back off, asshole.
And he was like, whoa, 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 I didn't think the leopards would eat my face.
Yeah, right? And she's like, you sound way too much like Charles Xavier. And he's like, hey. Aw. It's like, if you want to fight these people, like, now is the time. This is the place. Magneto walks away, and people are like, are we sure it's cool having her here? Because it's like, we're all hitting a nuclear bomb with a hammer for fun.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's fine. And Pyro is like she was one of them. Do we really want her to be here? And he's like, you were one of them. He goes, yeah, but like, I changed. I've been with you ever since. I'd have killed Charles Xavier too if you gave me the chance. To which he said, Charles Xavier did more for mutants than you will ever know. My single greatest regret is that he had to die for our dream to live.
Husbands!
Pretty much.
He basically looked at this kid and be like, don't you dare talk about my dead husband like that.
It really was. And again, good line, which was in a better movie. Logan hears Jean's voice in the same way that Cyclops did. So he decides, with no warning whatsoever, to go find out where she is at, because Pussy built this place, and Pussy will tear it down!
Okay, it makes more sense for Logan, because Logan's a dumbass. But, like, Scott had 2 more brain cells than Logan did. Not, like, a lot, but, like, 2 more.
Yeah. And they really try to build up this, like, hidden love story between Logan and Jean Grey, which is there in the comics, and it is there in the TV show.
I was about to say, but he never gets the girl.
And it's so poorly done in these movies.
Yeah.
Not just this one, but, like, all of them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, sex, and she's, like, married, and he's like, aw, nuts. And then that's it. There's no, like, longing from Logan. There's no, like, God, I really wish I had gotten here first, or I really wish I could say something. Mm-hmm. And there's none of that. He's just like, we fucking? And she's like, no. And he's like, darn it.
In 97, they did that pretty well.
I was going to say, in 97, X-Men 97, it's on Disney Plus, for those of you who don't know, they do it very well. Mm-hmm. And there's still that, like, huh? And she's like, no. And Logan's like, oh, I'm joking to hide the pain. But there's no joking to hide pain here.
Someone find me a cigar.
Yeah, right?
Bub.
Bub.
That's also a problem. 0 out of 10 on the bub scale.
There was no bub here, was there?
No.
Yeah. So, at a protest outside the government building, their protest chant is, we don't want a cure. Or we don't need a cure.
Or something like that.
But they can't get the beat right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, we don't want a cure. We don't want a cure. Or it's like, we don't want a cure. We don't want a cure. One of the other people. So Pyro and Bobby kind of like meet up and they're like, fuck you. And he's like, no, fuck you. And he goes, fuck you. No, fuck you. And so Bobby's like, I'm leaving. And
Bobby's looking for Rogue, by the way. He's thinking that he can see her in line to get the cure or whatever. Somehow he put it together. Don't know how.
Yeah. So Bobby's like, fuck you. And Pyro's like, all right. And then he throws a fireball into the government station and like runs away skidly. On the TV, Magneto threatens the world.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is war. We will not stop until there's no longer a cure. We don't need a cure. We don't want it. If you are a mutant, either stay with us or get out of the way.
I think it would be a much better if they just mandated that mutants take the cure. Like, then we would be on Magneto's side. But he's just like, oh, you've invented a cure? Down with the patriarchy!
But the idea is that they will use it as a weapon.
Yeah, but it would work better for him if they just did it.
Yeah, I suppose. So the president declares war on mutant kind.
Yeah.
And gives them all cure weapons. So you have to throw away anything metal you have in a bowl. Mm-hmm. And then you pick up your weapons that shoot the cure. There is a voice yelling at each other. We never see him, but it is R. Lee Army from Full Metal Jacket and a million other things. You can tell that man's voice from a mile away.
Him and In the World guy.
Yeah, right? Oh, God. Rest in peace to both of them. Logan locates the camp where Phoenix and Magneto are, but is immediately attacked by goons. Mutant goons. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
More club kids come straight for him.
And what we should be getting is a cool action scene where, like, Logan runs through the forest and just, like, slashes people.
Yeah.
In an animalistic, like, sort of... He's Wolverine in the place where Wolverine should fight. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But things are very weightless and bloodless and, like... It's like he runs through somebody and he wiggles his claws at them and then they fall over.
Yeah.
It should be a lot cooler but it's also not well choreographed.
It's not.
Like, you don't need to be crazily violent and bloody and that to be cool, but this is not anything.
You're telling me they spent $1 trillion on this?
It was 200 and something million dollars.
Yeah, that's like a lot.
Yeah.
And we couldn't hire a choreographer. A battle choreography person.
I guess not. Logan, I guess, kills all those guys and kind of sneaks into Magneto's speech where he sees Phoenix. And he immediately like, I'm going to follow Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And Magneto was like, no, you're not, and chucks him aside because Logan's bones are made of metal, you stupid bitch.
My bones. I'm going to go find Magneto. I'm going to fuck him up.
Magneto tosses him aside like litter.
Yeah.
And so, he just chucks him away and away he goes. The military, however, have found their location of the Brotherhood because Mystique gave them up. This is that little scene. You see her on the TV.
Yeah.
And she flipped. She gave him up, and this is the last you'll see of her. And then the guy says, and I swear to God, this is one of those times where I'm not embellishing. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. She was left for dead.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that, like... I was so mad. Because it's not like... They throw it away like it's just like, huh, bitches, am I right? No, like, this should be a shocking, like, oh, fuck, she gave him up. Like this whole thing, this should be a build-up, just like, women. Anyway, let's go to war.
It's such a dumb move on Magneto's part. He knew she had all the answer codes, and he just left her behind. Like, if you had someone who was for your cause and was your right hand and knew everything you knew, and then, like, they get injured, you were just like, I guess you're not useful to me. No, you keep them by your side, because they have the answer key.
This movie sucks so fucking bad.
And he should know that. He plays chess.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
There's so much hand-waving going on in this movie, guys. So much.
So we see them in, like... it's not night vision, but you see all these, like, white spots on the thing.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, all the army kind of, like, crawls around them, like, all right, we're ready to go. And they go, and you start seeing those white spots disappear. And so party's like, oh, fuck, they killed him.
Yeah.
But you look, and no, it's Multiple Man. It was a decoy. He was just himself multiple times.
Oh.
And he's like, all right, I give up. And I'm also pretty sure that's the last time we see him.
I was about to say, I don't remember seeing him again. Also, that's a really useful power.
Yeah, it is. Okay. I'd like to stop. You know what I mean?
I mean, we could stop here if you want.
No, but like, as I'm like, I don't want to talk about this movie. It's so shit.
We can do a part 2 if you want.
No, we're like in the last third. Logan comes back and tells everyone that they're going to attack the lab where they create the cure. Yeah. Which is on Alcatraz, by the way.
I feel like that's symbolic, but I can't tell you why.
They say it's because this is where people were imprisoned, and now it's a place where people will be freed.
I know, but that's not... No. You know?
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the Golden Gate Bridge, in what is definitely the greatest show of power we have ever seen in this movie.
Mm-hmm. True.
Magneto takes the bridge, lifts it off of its mooring, and turns it so it becomes a bridge to Alcatraz. And it should be this huge, like, crazy show of power, but it's kind of... I don't know. Bland, maybe is the word?
I mean, it's definitely extra as hell.
It is, yeah. But no, like, it doesn't feel as cool as it should be.
Yeah, that's true.
So he pops the bridge down and says, and I'm not kidding here, Charles always wanted to build bridges. What kind of James Bond pun?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
You know, there were easier ways of going about this, right, buddy?
He can fly.
Yeah.
So, The Brotherhood approaches the lab, and they're like, hey, coming to get you. And they're like, everybody, go! And so they send out all the army with their cure weapons. And they're like, you guys, all right. And sends out the mooks of the
Yeah, the first wave of club kids.
the mutant world, go. And the army immediately retreats. And it's not like, advance to the rear. It's, ah! So as this goes down, Juggernaut's like, all right, let's go. And he stops him and he goes, the pawns go first. That's not very Magneto-like.
No.
Like, yes, I get it because he plays chess and he plays chess with Charles. But he's weighing one mutant against another, which is not what he wanted to do.
No, you're trying to get out of this with as many mutants as possible. You want mutant supremacy. You don't... Okay.
So they go in, they start open firing on the mutants. They get hit, and it's cured. Their mutant gene goes away, which is not how a cure works. It's not like one prick and you're done. Like, it takes a little bit, whatever. And like, Magneto goes to wave his hand, and nothing happens. And he goes, "Oh, plastic. They've learned. This is why you let the pawns go first." Which, like, is kind of funny, but also...
Yeah. And also, you've got Jean Grey right there. Just, if you're going for total annihilation, just have her do magic about it.
We see Jean go nuts at the end of this scene.
Yeah.
And, like, you're right. You watch that and you're like, why the fuck?
We'll get there.
Anywho.
Anyway, Magneto wants the bald kid who looks like 11 from Stranger Things.
Yes.
For reasons I'm not 100% clear on.
Because he's how they make the cure.
Okay.
The X-Men show up, and we get a pretty decent mutant brawl.
Yeah.
Where just, like, a lot of stuff is going on. The Juggernaut is like, he's like, all right, go get that little boy. Kill him if you have to. And he's like, whee! And away he goes, and, like, he runs, and he just bowls people over. But the way it's shot, I swear to God, there was a pin knocking down noise.
I got the Mario vibe. Like, he was just like, blink, blink, blink.
So we see this. Kitty Pryde chases after him because he can go through walls, and so can she.
I mean, fair shout, right?
Yeah, and so there's this cool, like, little cool spot where, like, Kitty slides in. She grabs him by the leg and then sinks down into the ground because she phases through the ground.
Yeah.
And Kit gets Juggernaut, like, into the floor. And she pops back up. To which he replies, sing it if you know it. Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch! Who wrote that? You're fired.
You know who wrote that.
There's a reason why that became a meme.
Well, did that become a meme back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The other Brotherhood... Oh, I forgot to mention. The kid with the angel's wings...
Yeah.
He shows up at the X-Mansion. Like, they're like, what do we do now that Charles is dead? And Beast is like, I guess we'll cancel it. It's the Charles Xavier school. We can't do it without Charles Xavier. And they're like, mm-hmm. And then the angel kid shows up. He goes, hey, I thought is this a good place for mutants? And Storm's like, it is now. And that's the end of him.
We'll see him again here in a second.
So they find his dad, and they're like, hey, are you the guy who made the cure? And he's like, yes, I am. And they're like, cool, come with us. And he's like, why?
Oh, no!
And they find him and they kill his assistant. Kitty goes in, finds the kid who produces the cure, and she's like, great, we're getting out of here. There's a war going on. She grabs him, and she goes up to the wall, and she's like, phase! Bump, bump, bump. Now what? And she's like, it's not going to work with me here. Like, that's my powers, nullifying powers. And she's like, shit, now what? Juggernaut comes through the... Juggernaut comes through the door.
Yes.
He comes through the wall, excuse me.
Yeah. He creates a hole. Yeah.
And she's like, stay here, I have an idea. And he's like, here I go. And he runs towards them. They duck out of the way just in time. Juggernaut bonks his head, knocks himself unconscious, despite wearing the helmet that keeps his face pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Knocks himself unconscious. And that is the last you see of Juggernaut. No, I'm not kidding.
Correct. That is how we stop Juggernaut. Yeah.
He bonks his head.
He bonks his head real good.
He's rendered unconscious.
Uh-huh.
And as far as I know, he died there.
Yeah. It worked on the Doctor. I don't see why it wouldn't work on Juggernaut.
So, Magneto says it's time for this war to end, despite the fact that it just started. So he teams up with Pyro and starts chucking flaming cars at people.
Hey.
Which is, to his defense, pretty bitchin'.
It is. But we've totally forgot the plot with Pyro that he can control fire and not create it. Remember?
I mean, yeah, at this
that was
point.
a whole plot point in 2.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah, no, there's so many problems here. That is
Yeah.
so low on the
We'll be
fucking
here
scale.
all day. So Magneto starts chucking flame cars. And they all kind of like run to get cover. Mm-hmm. It's Logan, it's Bobby, and it's Storm. And they see like a cure pack on the ground.
Yeah.
That they used as ammo. And Logan like looks to Storm and looks to Bobby and he goes, "We fight as a team, remember?" Okay. He goes, "Bobby, can you take care of your friend there?" And he's like, "Yeah." So Bobby stands up. Pyro comes forward. And they're like, "All right, fucker, let's do this." Storm creates fog for something to do. I don't think it actually comes... Like, the idea is it hides Beast.
Yeah.
But not very well. So, Bobby and Pyro, Iceman and Pyro, have what is undoubtedly a Dragon Ball Z style beam struggle.
It's true, yes.
Bobby sends out ice, Pyro sends out, wait for it, fire.
Yeah. Red versus blue. It's how we do it.
It collides, and Pyro actually wins. The fire engulfs Bobby. But then Bobby turns himself into solid ice, which I did not know he could do.
Me either.
And just straight up headbutts him. So that was okay.
I mean, yeah. Why use powers when headbutt do trick?
Yeah. Colossus takes Logan and just hucks him at Magneto. Fastball special.
Love it.
But he doesn't, like, make it too far. And so, like, he skids on the ground like, ah.
Well, that's because Magneto catches him midair and was just like, no.
Yeah, Magneto, for the first time in 3 movies, goes, "Haven't you gotten how this works yet?"
You are made of metal. Your bones are metal. Gotta fuck him up.
Gotta fuck him up. But while he is distracted with Logan, Beast comes up with the cure and stabs Magneto in the chest.
Yeah.
Rendering him powerless. Magneto is no longer... He's just Eric now.
Yeah.
As he drops to the ground, I guess getting your powers taken away is painful. Because every time this happens, people like writhe on the ground. Like,
well, they're rewriting their DNA, so I imagine it's not a pleasant feeling.
That's a good point. He turns to Phoenix and says, "This is what they want for all of us." And Phoenix does nothing about it.
Again, she's just been a zombie this whole time. There's a nuke standing right there, and we're all just like, gotta fuck him up.
Yeah. So Logan goes up to Phoenix, and he's like, "It's all over. Like, we can stop this now." And she's like, "Maybe you're right." And all of the army shows up and starts shooting at her. And Logan's like, "No!" And she, like, stops that and atomizes every single one of those fuckers.
Yeah, again, just snaps people. Like those club kids that tried to kill the guy who, invented the cure? Gone. The army people? Gone.
In literally a snap. Like, there's a reason why I didn't say any of their names. Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whoosh. Gone. Like, atomized. They're here one day and out the other. She takes out the X-Jet. She destroys the X-Jet. She's melting people everywhere. This is a great climax for the wrong movie.
Yeah.
Because,
sure.
like, this is what you should have been building up towards this whole time. Is Dark Phoenix going supernova.
What part of Genocidal Maniac should be the big bad? Did you guys not hear?
In the chaos, people run like hell. Eric looks to Phoenix and goes, "Oh God, what have I done?" To which Charles is like, "I told you."
Literally everyone watching the movie goes, "What did you think was gonna happen?"
Yeah. So Logan looks to Storm and looks to the other X-Men, and he's like, "Get them out of here! Get out of the way. We know I'm the only one who can stop this." And they're like, "All right." And I was like, "Why is he the only one who can stop this?" Then I remember, he walks towards he walks towards Phoenix.
Yeah.
And he begins to atomize, but he has a healing factor.
Yeah.
So as he walks, you see like his flesh kind of like open up a little bit and then knit back together. But again, it's very bloodless. It's very like it should be horrifying, to be honest with you.
It should be,
and it's not really. And I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, this needs to be R-rated for like it's got to be like gritty and gory But I mean, this is a fucked up thing what we're watching.
Yeah, we're killing people left and right. So if you're gonna take the horror route, you gotta stick with the motifs, like...
Yeah, so she begins to atomize Logan, but he keeps healing up, destroying every part of his body, but conveniently leaving his pants.
Because the sensor is still here. It's stronger than Jean Grey.
Logan makes it up to her and like grabs her by the shoulders. And she's like, You would die for them? And he goes, no, not for them. For you. For you, Jean. Completely undoing all of the character he has done these last 3 movies.
Yep.
Jean emerges one last time outside of Phoenix and begs for Logan to save her. And Logan obliges by impaling her on his claws, killing Jean Grey for real this time.
Yeah.
We get a full-on drop to his knees, grab the dying body, look up to the heavens, and go, no!
Yep.
You were the one to kill her.
Yeah. You made this choice.
You didn't know how this ends?
I mean, buddy, she's murdering people. Again, genocidal maniac.
So, the whole thing about Logan coming to the X-Men is learning how to work as a team. He has been a lone wolf his entire life. So now he works with a team. He cares about other people. This movie makes you think like, oh, the only reason he's here is because maybe Scott will die first. And he will get to bang Jean Grey.
And it almost happens.
And that is the end of Jean Grey and quite a lot of other characters now that I think about it.
Yeah. Like, we set up this kid nullifying power to take out Jean Grey.
Oh, that's right.
Like...
And it's never used.
No. Like...
He's never seen again.
No. Because they run in, Kitty gets him, she knocks out Juggernaut, she grabs the kid, she runs out. Like, the X-Men have no idea why they want this kid. The X-Men have no idea this kid exists until they got there. Like... And Kitty knows that this kid can nullify powers. Jean's gone mad with power. A plus B equals just use the kid.
Yeah. So, back at the mansion, that's the end of the climax, by the way. I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, no, the kid just gets on something and leaves. I don't even know what the fuck happens there.
Back at the mansion, we see graves made for Jean Grey, Scott Summers, next to Professor X, because we wanted 3 movies, and only 3 movies.
Yeah.
Bobby sees that Jean is back, and he's like, oh, where did you go? And she's like...
You mean, what's it, Rogue?
Rogue, I say Jean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sees that Rogue is back. And Bobby's like, oh, where'd you go? And Jean is like, I had to. And he goes like, this isn't what I wanted. And she goes, no, but it's what I wanted. And they hold hands for the first time, signifying that she did, in fact, take the cure. This is seen as a good thing, by the way.
I mean, there's this weird abortion underline thing going on here.
Yeah. Beast becomes the UN ambassador to the United States. We see the Golden Gate Bridge be rebuilt as the kids return to Xavier's school. We see, as Logan watches TV, he's like, good job, furball. Like, they're supposed to have, like, a connection, but they don't really.
Not really.
We cut to the park where Eric is playing chess. Now,
As old men do.
as old men do. Now, Eric no longer has mutant powers.
Yeah.
But he still did some crazy illegal shit.
Yeah, no, he's still a war criminal.
He's not just a man now. Like, he should be in jail.
It's true. It's possible they think he died on that island. Like, he died at Alcatraz.
Maybe.
But, like, he should definitely be in jail. Then again, the only people who'd use Cerebro are currently dead. So, like...
Yeah. So, as he's playing chess, he raises his hand, and the metal piece moves.
Yeah.
We cut directly to credits. That is the end of the movie. So, if the cure does not work, or it can wear off, or something,
Yeah.
it renders the entire movie you just watched pointless.
On the plus side, we never have to deal with this timeline again. Oh, god damn it, there was the thing after the credits.
Oh, yes. And then I was going to get to that. So, the credits. Remember Moira Taggart?
McTaggart, yes.
Moira McTaggart. And that guy I mentioned who's a vegetable, I mentioned yonks ago.
Yeah, starting the movie.
She is taking care of him. And we hear Charles Xavier's voice out of that man go, was it like, hello, Moira, or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
And that is the scene after the credits. So, the school is back to... the school is back. I assume Storm is the one who's taking over it.
Yeah.
Logan... his character got worse. Rogue is no longer an X-Men. She no longer has powers.
So she even allowed back in the mansion?
I'm not done. I'm doing a wrap-up. She is they're not going to kick her out.
Never mind.
Rogue no longer has powers. I guess her relationship with Bobby is still going.
Yeah.
Magneto no longer has powers, but he's running free, and apparently they're coming back. And maybe the Charles Xavier is taking over another man's body. Everyone's happy. They shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Curtain down. The movie, I think they want us to think that this is a good ending, like a happy ending.
Based on the amount of sunshine and rainbows and birds, yeah.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbow. No. So many things. Okay, so remember when I said they wanted 3 movies and only 3 movies?
Yeah.
We thought so. But then as the movie was being released, they were like, what if we want to do a 4th one? And they're like, I've killed so many people. And they're like, make it so it's more open-ended. And by open-ended, you can't have an open-ended movie with so many things going on.
Yeah.
Because that means, like, nothing was solved. Everything you just watched was pointless. Everything you just watched doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. Mm-hmm.
My chest hurts.
I know.
If I didn't just have a cardiac appointment the other day, I'd be scared.
Jody.
So, I probably don't need to reiterate,
Yeah.
but I don't like this movie.
Yeah.
What are your overall thoughts, Keats?
We again misused Storm because all she did was turn the fog on and off.
Yeah,
I mean, she did wield some lightning, and there was a storm here and there, but not in the I created 10 tornadoes to tell a bunch of fighter jets to fuck off kind of way.
That was cool.
Yeah. So misuse of Storm. Penalty for misuse of Storm. 0 bubs. Don't care for that shit.
Not a single bub.
Not a single bub. It relies on you to know who these characters are, because I thought Beast was fucking Nightcrawler for a minute there.
Oh yeah, Nightcrawler is nowhere in this movie.
Yeah. They don't mention him. We don't see him. As far as you know, he never existed. So, that sucks. Let's see here. There is plot holes I could drive goddamn countries through. Like, I had to gap fill as to why she went back to her old house to rationalize why she went back there. That's not in there. They just said, oh, she's back in the old house. Let's go!
Like Mario.
Yeah.
Let's go!
Let's go! Bad characterization all around. Dark Phoenix is supposed to be what if genocidal maniac.
Dark Phoenix should have been so much cooler.
I know.
Like, this is like if they took Thanos
Yeah.
and got rid of him in, like, Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah. And then, like... What was it? Wolverine was just willing to bone Jean Grey there on an operating table. So,
well, he did stop, which is...
Yeah, but the fact that it was an option.
It went far. It did. Okay.
So, not great. Needs rewrites. Needs to be split into 2 different movies.
Yeah. Hang a score on him, Cutes. What are you giving it?
No bubs out of 10. It gets points for having a plot that I kind of understand. It loses points for all the things I said.
Yeah.
What? I've seen movies where plots I don't understand.
I feel you.
Which makes them worse somehow. So I guess it's like a 6 out of 10. What's a passing score in this country?
Really? You're giving it a pass?
What is the bare minimum to pass in this country?
It would be 5. It would be 50.
Okay, so we're giving it a 5 out of 10.
Okay. I have fluctuated wildly.
Yes.
It's not a 1. I don't want to give it a 0. I don't want to give it a 1.
I was about to say, we've seen much worse movies.
Because I have seen worse movies. This isn't the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not even close.
No.
But it is one of the more disappointing.
Yeah.
One of the movies that have squandered a lot of talent and a lot of promise.
A lot of people just didn't want to be in this movie, and you could see it.
And you could see it. I think I'm giving it a 3.
Oh my god.
I think I'm giving it a 3. Though and I know it might sound too low to some of you. It might sound too high to the others. But I can't. It's not an average movie to me. I can't see that.
I think it's just barely passing by the skin of its teeth.
Yeah. I think, a lot of the performances... There's no bad performance, except for maybe Halle Berry.
Yeah.
But, like, everybody's good. Like, it is tolerably made, There's not a lot of...
The script is awful.
I know, but it's competently directed.
The dialogue is... bleh.
Yeah, so that's... I'm gonna give it a 3. I started at 5. I start every movie with a 5, and it goes up and down based on how I'm feeling.
Yeah, okay.
And it might just be because we saw X2 a little bit ago.
Yeah.
And that was so much better.
It was so much better. It was significantly better.
So much better. And so I can't give it any higher. I can't get it any higher than a 3.
No.
Maybe a 3.5 if I'm feeling particularly generous.
Yeah, okay.
But I also can't give it any lower. I can't just be like, it's the worst movie ever. Even though, like, in my head, I'm feeling it. But it's recency bias, and I can't.
No. So, yeah, so I'm giving it whatever counts as a passing score.
You're giving it a 5?
Yeah, because it exists, so it gets points, It did have a cohesive plot, which gets points, because, like,
true.
cohesive... I've seen movies where I'm just like, what the fuck did I just witness?
Yeah, that's the other thing, because like I know there can be so much worse.
But this gives me, we turned in the project and we didn't want to do it in the first place energy.
Yeah. So I think if I'm giving it a 3, you're giving it a 5, we come out with a 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it that. But jeez, the more I talk about this, the less happy I become.
Let's get you an ice cream. Okay?
Yes, please. But before we get that, now we have a choice to make.
Do we?
Yes, we can stick with strictly X-Men movies.
Okay.
Because here we would go to X-Men First Class.
Okay.
Or we can take the Wolverine side street.
Yeah.
And go with Wolverine, X-Men's Origins, The Wolverine, and then finally Logan.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Do you want to stick strictly X-Men?
Yeah.
Strictly X-Men? So, okay. So then next week, we will move on to behind us as we apologize for this shit show you just saw.
Yeah.
We have to burn the ashes and raise it anew with our next movie, X-Men First Class.
Tomorrow, mankind will know that mutants exist. They'll fear us. And that fear will turn to hatred.
Not if we stop a war. Not if we risk our lives doing so. We have it in us to be the better men.
We already are.
It shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States.
They're just kids.
No, they were kids.
You ready for this?
Let's find out.
The cost of freedom is always high. No one can foresee precisely what course it will take. One path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender.
Listen to me very carefully, my friend. Killing will not bring you peace.
Peace was never an option.
But that's where we're headed towards. This was the first X-Men movie I actually saw, and I remember really liking X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
So I hope that hope is not in vain. But
We'll tell you later if it was.
yeah, right. You guys will be the first to know. But yeah, so from there we're going on to the First Class kind of universe. We'll go to Days of... How am I going to talk about Days of Future Past? There's a lot intertwining on that one.
Yeah, so again, I'm just going to have to rehash the whole Moira McTaggart thing without her because she's not in that movie, I guess. I don't know, man.
It'll be fun to see. And then we will watch the series go to hell for a second time. But that is 2 movies away. So if you like what you see and you want to see more of it, you can like, comment, and subscribe here on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
If you are listening to this on Spotify, rate 5 stars, all that jazz. If you really liked it and you got money burning a hole in your pocket, help us pay for rent. And you can go to patreon.com/emptysquare. That's patreon.com/EMPTYSQUARE. We got a bunch of stuff. Everything from getting these episodes early to becoming a character in the Brightwell podcast to picking your own movie review.
Woohoo!
If that's what you want to do. We will watch absolutely anything within reason. But if you want to catch us other places, I am on Blue Sky. I am at emptysquare on Blue Sky. I am at emptysquare pro on TikTok, as long as that's still with us. Cutes, where you at?
I am a mystery. Come and find me if you dare.
Oh, she is. Just remember, I caught her first. But until then, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope everything's going well for you. And we will see you next time.
Bye!